Welcome to Future Consumer ADR, a podcast where we discuss what's happening and what's next in consumer and mass claims resolution. Hear from experts in their fields on the latest trends and innovations in consumer and mass arbitration, litigation, and beyond. My name is Adam Shoneck, host of the podcast. I'm Vice President of Business Development for the American Arbitration Association. I've been with the AAA for 15 plus years, nearly all of which has been in the consumer space. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Federico Ast, founder of Kleros, a blockchain-based arbitration platform. And today we want to do a deep dive into some really great research that Kleros has come out with on AI decision-making and to talk about Kleros's consumer arbitration projects. So welcome, Federico. Could you tell us a
Hi.
little bit about your expertise and background?
Yeah, sure. Hello, Adam. I'm great to be here. Thank you for having me. Well, first thing, I'm not a lawyer. I don't come to arbitration from the legal perspective. I'm actually, my background is in economics and in philosophy. I'm Argentinian. I got into blockchain in the early days because Argentina had so many problems with inflation, currency, and poor governance. So that is what got me interested in the first place. At some point, what was happening in Argentina was we had lots of people like trying to do selling services to as freelancers to clients from different parts of the world, programming and design, stuff like that. And they could be paid in cryptocurrency, which was great because it would cut on like finance banking costs. But they wouldn't, if you're in Argentina and you want to have a customer from the US, for example, or Europe, wherever, do some design work for them, they're not going to hire you because what if they have a dispute with you? I mean, they're not going to go to court in Argentina against you for like a $1,000, like a 3-minute video. They're not going to go to arbitration in the sense of international arbitration for that small amount. So this is what was my main motivation to start digging into this. Can we build a system that can resolve disputes, which is super fast, super inexpensive, that can operate globally for catering to all of these new types of economic activity of the digital age? So what if you sell your service to some person from different place, and then if there is a dispute, you can use like an escrow to hold the money there, and then if there's a dispute, you have a crowdsourced jury that's going to analyze the evidence and vote on who is right. And this jury doesn't need to be experts in like law, doesn't need to be lawyers. If it's about software, it could be software developers. If it's like design, could be designers. But the idea is having a crowdsourced method for evaluating evidence in a very fast and inexpensive way. I have disputes resolved in like a few days. And this is how Kleros was born. Now it's used in different use cases and operates globally, and also is doing its first strides into like local consumer disputes that I guess we can speak a bit more later. So this is a very short introduction to Kleros.
Sure. Well, let's talk about some of Kleros's use cases. I've seen use cases in esports, in certainly independent contractor decision making, like you were just talking about, and certification of organic foods, just a really wide array of use cases that I've seen for Kleros.
Kleros ultimately is basically a neutral decision-making mechanism. So juries can decide lots of different things, provided they can rely on some rules to make the decision. And you can use this to verify if like a crypto asset is a scam or not. I mean, this is one of the use cases, is to verify crypto assets and certify them as like not being, Ponzi's or scams. This falls like within the certification, if you want the use case. Then you have like one industry we are exploring, but we don't have yet like disputes happening there, is esports. You have big esports tournaments. You have 20 people from two different teams from 15 different countries, and there are disputes about the cheating. There are disputes about how to distribute some bounty earned by the team, and you don't really. How can you resolve this with traditional dispute resolution methods? These are people who are in very different places, and sometimes you don't even know who these persons are. You sometimes the only thing you know is like the avatar they use in their game, and they don't disclose their real identity. So it's very hard to resolve this through usual methods. So this is something we are exploring because esports and the metaverse situations, and also this includes social networks, operate on the internet as a jurisdiction. So they kind of require methodology for solving dispute that is also native to the digital age. So Kleros is very flexible in the sense of being able to accommodate to lots of different use cases where there is the need to have some decision done neutrally about either a dispute or a situation where someone wants to be certified, and well, we need to people to check if the certification is or not deserved. So, but it's really, really flexible.
Yeah, to tell us a little more about the crypto certification use case with Kleros, because I think that one is really really hits on something that is needed out there. It sounds like.
Sure. So you have like a world today where you have like thousands of crypto assets being created every day because well, this is a booming sector of the economy, and lots of these crypto assets are just scams, tokens. Some of them are like what they call as rug pulls. These are going to be just minted, and then people are going to buy it, and the team is going to disappear with the money. Stuff like that people know already. So the companies, exchanges try to verify before listing an asset. They try to verify that the asset is not like a rug pull, it's not like a scam or whatever. But they can only like check a few of them every day because they have a small team and they cannot really check everything. And
Sure.
how can we put this in the hands of the community into a method that is more crowdsourced, that is more scalable, and that is also transparent in the sense of people knowing why some asset got the certification or not? So this is how it works. So let's say I build a project and I want my crypto asset to be listed into an exchange. I can fill a form within a Kleros application called Curate, where I can submit a form with a deposit, and anyone from the community can verify if my asset complies or not with the rules to be listed. So they can check if the smart contract is not buggy, if the team doesn't have like criminal records, whatever other rule that is necessary to check. If nobody has any objection, I mean, the asset is accepted into the list, so it got certified. But if someone has an objection because they think it doesn't comply with the rules, they can challenge my proposal of registration. And then now there is like a dispute between me, who want to have a certification, and my challenger, who claims I don't deserve a certification. So there is a dispute that is going to be solved by a Kleros jury, and they're going to see the asset, they're going to analyze the evidence, the claim from the challenger, and vote who they think is right. This is how it works. And if the submitter wins, it takes the challenger's deposit. If the challenger wins, it takes the deposit of the submitter. So this is an economically incentivized way to build this. Let me tell you a fun story about this.
Sure.
There was a project a few years ago called Butter Chain. This was I think 2020 maybe, and they submitted their token to be listed into this list of certified assets, and someone challenges it and claims that in the white paper that the project presented for the submission, it said that the CTO was part of a Oxford blockchain laboratories or something like that. And the jury, so they called Oxford to check if that guy actually was part of that laboratory. And someone at Oxford
Mm.
answered, no, we have never heard of that guy. And there is no such thing as these blockchain laboratories here at Oxford. So it was, at the end, it was like an impersonation. It was like a false, fake identity. It was a stock photo, proof of the internet, with a fake resume. And it doesn't
Wow.
end here. Like 6 months later, so the token was rejected. So 6 months later, we read in the news that the police in China had made a number of arrests into a Ponzi project called Butter Chain. It was the same project that was rejected by the Kleros panel 6 months ago. Imagine like if Kleros was informing the Chinese police to find the Ponzi and the illegal activity. So it would have taken 6 less months to figure out this was a scam. So this is how you see the use of the community can be way more scalable and faster, because this was done in Kleros in 3 days only, compared to
Wow.
6 months. This is really powerful thing that we do for listing crypto assets in a fair way.
What was the total staked in that case? In
It was, I think it was a few $1,000s. I will need to check that, but
okay.
so that was a stake, that deposit that was done by the project to apply for the listing, and that was challenged after that.
Okay. And do you have any guess as to, had that scam gone through, what that, that have been like $1 billion scam or something like that?
Oh, hopefully not, but people, different important platforms from the crypto ecosystem, like Ledger, like MetaMask, so like wallets and Etherscan, so different wallets and tools from the crypto rely on this list to verify tokens and contract addresses. So if one of those gets through the Kleros, curation system and certification system, it can be bad. I mean, it's hard to estimate how bad, but it could mislead people into buying assets that actually were scams. So that is why we put a lot of care into making the system work very well.
So for a few $1,000s, potentially a lot was saved, and it was done in 3 days, which is pretty incredible. So so you are okay. So you are companies are using you for that service. They're relying on your certification. That's pretty cool, I think. And what else are you doing in the crypto space? I know you have a program involving Lemon. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So this is more into the consumer space. So Lemon is a cryptocurrency exchange, that's like a fintech company similar to a Revolut in Europe, or like maybe Robinhood in the US. And they had like lots of disputes between the company and users because of chargeback, wrong transactions, and stuff like that. So what happened typically is that, they have the dispute with the client, small claims like $200, stuff like that, very small. Then the customer goes to customer service. Customer service says, I mean, you're not right. We're not going to reimburse you. The customer typically didn't go to small claims court, because this is typically a young audience that have cryptocurrency, and they are not used to going to small claims court. This is in South America also. And what they did is like, okay, switch to the competition. And then if they were more motivated, they just go, on Twitter, and, they say, oh, this company, they are scammers, don't use them. So there is a lots of like reputational risk that, disgruntled customers try to do on companies. This is what I call, the equivalent of mob justice for the digital age in some way. So trying to hurt reputation of companies that you think wronged you. So what we did with them is, after the customer goes to customer service and customer service says no, instead of ending there, they offer the customer going to Kleros as a neutral panel that's going to make a decision about their case. So this is done in like only 2 or 3 days. And if the customer wins, the company voluntarily abides by the ruling. I mean, they have pledged to abide by the rulings every time the customer wins. If the customer loses, on the contrary, it can still go to court. I mean, it doesn't take any access to justice right from them, so it's fine. And so it works really well. And this is the key metric. So first, it's cheap, it's very fast, but the key metric here is that 90% of the customers that go to Kleros for the dispute resolution of this claim and lose their case, they are still happy with the process and they stay as customers of the company, which is great, because you instead of having a angry guy, going to court potentially, and you have to spend on legal fees, or going to social media to bash on your company, you have a guy who actually you become a more loyal customer because he had his day in court with a process that was fair, with a bunch of other customers that analyzed the case and made a decision, and they justify why they made that decision. And this is great for satisfaction. And yeah, so this is the key metric that we learned. 9 out of 10 customers are happy with the process, even when they lose the case.
I think, like you said, that is the key metric. That is, it's so almost mind blowing, that you would still it's not like voting against your interest or anything like that. It's legitimately being happy with the process and deciding, okay, this was a good outcome to this situation, and staying as a customer. Because I think that's what companies are really trying to achieve, is retaining that person as a customer. So that's what I try to tell companies all the time, is about these kind of systems, that they do work. And so it's very refreshing to see that it's in practice and working.
Also, Adam, this was unexpected. This kind of changed the way in which we also approach business development, because when we started this, we were focusing, okay, let's try to save the company like legal fees, and let's try to, if we can prove that they can cut on legal fees with our service, they will want to use it. This is true, but it's not what the company cares more about. They actually care more about, the trust they earn with their customers than the savings in legal fees. And this is why, after this experience, we started, for business development, going more to the marketing department instead of the legal department. So we go to both, but marketing departments typically have more sales in companies than the legal department. So they see this as a marketing tool of, okay, look, guys, you can come to our company, and if you have a problem with us, you have this fair system for solving it, instead of the competition where you are just on your own, and you have to go to court. So this is actually a customer, acquisition,
Right.
one
Okay.
hand, and retention when they are already your customer. This was a very interesting learning we did with Lemon.
That's fascinating. So every day it seems like there's something new you're coming out with, some new use case, but you've recently come out with some research into AI decision making, which is even more mind blowing than the Lemon program, I think. And wanted to ask you about that, and what some of your key findings were there.
Yes. So for a very long time, we had this idea of, okay, how does AI and this decentralized justice and jury system interact? I mean, do we need juries if AI can solve the case, or just AI can do it? And so this is something we have been researching for like a long time, since 2019. This is the first time we wrote about that. And now we kind of came back to this and revisited all of this research, following all of this craze about AI agents, LLMs, and all that. So this is the problem. So let's say you want to use an AI for solving disputes, customer dispute, whatever type of dispute. So what we have tested is that it depends on what model you use, you will get a different decision. Like if you want, if you use Claude, it's maybe different to using ChatGPT or using Gemini. And if you use ChatGPT 4, it's not the same at 5, and you may have different decisions, different outcomes of the case. This is something we validated through research. What we did is like, it was kind of a gaming application that we tested this with football. I mean, I'm Argentinian, love football. So we put like controversial football plays where it was not clear if it was a penalty or not, or if it was a goal or not, and foul or not, those situations, and put AIs to make a decision, penalty, not penalty, for example. And in many cases, we had like a divided, jury. I mean, so 2 AIs said it's a penalty, 1 didn't. So many times people say, okay, yeah, lots of disputes are going to be solved by AI. But then those people sometimes didn't actually work with the AIs themselves to see what happens when you try to do that. Because what happens is that you end up in a situation where it will depend on which AI you use that will determine what outcome you get. So let's say you and I have a dispute, and then, okay, Adam, I want to use Gemini because I think that's the AI that's going to be biased in my favor. You will want to use ChatGPT because you think it's going to be biased in your favor. And kind of now we're in a situation that is a bit similar to arbitration, in traditional arbitration, that, parties need to agree on who is going to be in the panel. So this is a situation where we will have to argue, not about the substance of the case, but about what AIs we will want to put in the panel. I mean, so
what if you had a custom trained AI that was, like the best judge ever, had access to all these decisions and the theoretical point maybe, but like the Lemon program, would people accept the outcome because they felt it was a fair decision-making process? In other words, if you disclosed and were very transparent about how the AI was trained and different decisions it's made and that sort of thing, maybe that, and then people got a really good decision from it that they felt was reasonable, I think they would be convinced to accept that as an outcome. What do you think?
That's true. One of the problems that AIs historically had for solving disputes is that so they were working in a black box. So the problem of explainability was potentially hiding biases inside the AI, which was a big problem. This is now being, as we speak, a bit resolved in a way, in the sense that AIs now do explain their decisions. The biases can be corrected through different methods. But the problem is that what we are seeing is that you have AIs deciding and explaining their decisions, but they still don't agree, in the sense that you have humans, you have a panel of arbitrators where they decide about one case, and maybe 2 arbitrators decide A and 1 decides B, and they all give good explanations that are reasonable. So that's the thing. It's because of, I don't know, the nature of the dispute. We are still trying to figure this out, but this is the reason why you can't use like one AI, in the sense that you don't know which bias it will have. What you can do in the case of AI that you cannot do it in the case of humans is that you can use more. Let's say using 31 AIs to have bigger panel of models is not very expensive compared to having 31 arbitrators, right? So this means that you can increase the number of the sample of models, and maybe some of the errors will cancel out. So this is how I see this evolving, potentially having more AIs acting as jurors, and different AIs are going to be trained, in different ways. A big question is, for me also is, okay, let's in 5 years or 10 years, when all of the AIs have been fully trained, and will they converge on the same decision for the case, or there will be still discrepancy between their decisions? That's something we will see, I guess. There are arguments for both sides. I don't know.
You could take those 31 AIs and have an AI analyze their outputs and make a decision. So you could go very far, I think, down the rabbit hole there. But how are there any applications that you can see for AI decision makers in, I don't know, the next 5 years?
I think a very clear one is going to be like a social media moderation. Like you can see a moderation decision in social media platforms, like a kind of a jury situation where you have like a moderator that is going to evaluate some comment in the platform and decide if this comment breaks the rules or not. It's kind of like a trial situation. Lots of this is already done by AIs, but they are not open AIs. They are done internally by Meta or by X or whatever company. You don't really know how the decision is made. So this is a very clear use case where you want the decision to be done by a transparent process involving maybe an open AI framework. Another one, also in the context of content moderation, is like a copyright infringement on, I don't know, YouTube. Let's say I upload a video of YouTube and you claim that I'm infringing your copyright.
Right.
I say no. This video is basically it's a fair use because I'm using some of your content, but in a context which is different, so it doesn't count as infringement. You have like lots of situations where it depends a lot on what is the context in which something is done, or where I think you will have a first decision done by an AI, and potentially then a new panel reviewing the decision that is going to be done by humans if the AI decision is contested. But to me, social media, content on YouTube platforms, metaverse disputes, and esports gaming are going to be like a big candidates for being using AI quite heavily in the future.
I think I heard remind me of the name of the conference. It was on esports last year in Switzerland.
University. We organized a conference in Switzerland about there was one about gaming that we organized with gaming and esports with WIPO from Geneva. We organized it with them at the Neuchâtel University. And then the day after, there was another conference about dispute resolution in social media. Both covered, all of these new future types of disputes. We have been researching this for a long time already.
Definitely, and if those are available and out there, I would encourage anyone to go view those, because as well as your talk at the Ethic conference that you were just at?
It's a Ethereum France conference,
and that was all about your AI research, which I think is super fascinating. And I saw recently that you posted something that 10 years ago you predicted, we could have bots as jurors, and we're almost there. So what are your predictions for 10 years from now in the space, just generally? So we know it's probably because of social media, like you said, it's like hundreds of thousands of disputes a year, and just the volume of that is crazy. and really AI can make an impact there. But where else maybe in 10 years are we going to be with blockchain dispute resolution?
I think that the next 10 years will be like a combination and convergence of these different technologies that have been around for a while now. The one hand, there's going to be new breed of disputes. I mean, lots of disputes, as you said, were existing in social media, esports, like metaverse, this type of natively online situations. It's going to be one, new types of disputes. Second, new technologies, in the sense that AI is going to be big. Another part is going to be crowdsourcing, the use of panels done by random selection of jurors. Some of these jurors will be humans, some of them will be AIs. And there is another technology that I think is going to be quite used in the context of dispute resolution in the next 10 years, that is called prediction markets. It's like right now people maybe know it because of a market called polymarket, where people can bet on different outcomes of different situations. Will there be who will win the next election, or will there be a war declared before X date? So people can bet on those outcomes. But the important thing here is that
Interesting. I did not know that. Yeah.
So this is big for the future of news, but I think it's going to also have impact on dispute resolution. Let's say you have a dispute between two parties, and people can bet on who they think will win, and then based on these bets, you can estimate, the likelihood of one party winning, is in the sense of, as when people bet in betting markets, they also produce some information about who the market think is more likely to win the election or win the game or whatever. So let's say you have like a very high odds of like party A winning. Maybe you don't even need to go to actually resolve it. Maybe it's the market is already decided this, and then this kind of settles it. So this is some technology that is still not implemented, but it's something I see coming. I mean, I don't imagine this to be used for like high stakes dispute, but if you have like people betting on whether this blog post or this social media post breaks or not the rules of the platform, you could have people betting on that. It's just kind of a small stake situation, and then this could resolve the case very fast, and you could even have bots doing those bets. So this is one of the new technologies that is coming, that people are not seeing this, but this is kind of what lawyers have been doing for a long time also, in trying to guess what are the odds of winning a case. In the sense, when a lawyer takes a case, takes a client, he's making a bet on some potential outcome and some potential, economic return of that case. This is kind of the same, but more sophisticated for smaller value situations. And this, I think, is going to be a big technology for solving disputes that nobody is seeing, but I think this is coming. So new disputes, new technologies, AI, crowdsourcing, and maybe also prediction markets to make decisions, which is going to be like a very, very, very fast, and for this new context of, disputes happening in the digital world that's coming on us.
Wow, that's incredible. So, thank you, Federico. And if people want to get in touch with you or learn more about Kleros, where can they go?
They can go to our website, kleros.io. They can reach to me on my email, federico@kleros.io. They can follow me on Twitter at Federico Ast, on LinkedIn, Federico Ast. So yeah, I'm super happy, madam, to have spoken with you, and hopefully this will help people get a better grasp of what's coming in dispute resolution.
Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us for this discussion on Future Consumer ADR. Please note that the views expressed herein are those of the presenters. And please join us for our next episode. Bye now.